All right, guys, I'm going to go over a couple of these problems. This kind of be like a partial key. Make sure you're on the right track. I'm going to do a couple sections at a time, and refer to certain items in your spiral notebook to help you prepare. Um, so the first section I'm going to go over is pretty much 1 through 24. On numbers 1 and 2, you have to remember your order of operations. You have a blue foldable for that. You will have some fraction answers or decimal answers. Preferably keep it in fraction form because that's how you're going to see it on the test on this review packet. The first fraction form is on number 2. You have to remember your order of operation or your GMOS or PEMDAS. What we have to do is inside these parentheses first, and inside these parentheses we have multiplication. So we're going to rewrite this. Let me change my font, sorry. As on top, 24 minus 2 parentheses, and then inside the parentheses we're going to have 3 minus 10, because 2 and 5 is 10, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and simplify the bottom. 36 divided by 3 will give us 12. And then from here, we're going to need to do simplification of that parentheses. So I'm just going to rewrite it over here. We'll have 24 minus the 2 parentheses negative 7 on top, and then keep the 12 on the bottom. Well, now our next step we should be doing is multiplication. Multiplication comes before subtraction. So this gets simplified as 24 plus, because it's a negative 2 times 7 plus 14 all over 12. So then this would give us 38 over 12, which you can reduce. Make sure you give the simplified answer. You can use your calculator for that. I notice the fact that the multiple they have in common, and this reduces to 19 over 6. And that's our final answer. Okay. Now, on number 3, or basically this next section, 3 through 7, you need to remember to combine like terms. Number 3 is straight into combining like terms, so our CLT. I've underlined or double underlined or triple underlined the terms that are in common. So I start with our x's. When you combine like terms, make sure you keep it in alpha order. That's standard form. So the x's get combined, x minus 3x, the 4y, negative 4y. Don't forget your signs. And hopefully you should see that this simplifies to a negative, I forgot the last term, sorry. Negative 2x minus 12y, then it becomes plus 4. Because you have to add this negative 8 and that plus 4. So you have some combining like terms. Again, on number 4, don't forget that if we don't see anything with parentheses, it's showing a grouping, and it's also showing a distributive property. You have a number in front, and then if you don't see that number, it's like an invisible one. So we need to distribute the 9 for the first group and the negative 1 for the second group. So this would come out to be 9x minus 27 minus an x, then minus 2. And from there, we're just combining our like terms. This comes out to be a total of 8x, and then combine our constants. Negative 27 and negative 2 will give me a negative 29. So you're definitely going to do that on 6. You have some combining like terms on 7 and 8. 5, if it says to evaluate, remember you need to plug in here, evaluate, and they tell you the values for each variable. You need to plug it in. Anytime we plug it in, we should be using parentheses to show that. So when I rewrite this, we should just see 2 parentheses, 2, then plus 4 parentheses 8, because the 8 is the t. And inside the parentheses, n plus v should be 6 plus 4. Then you're just doing order of operations. So just try to do your multiplication, do your grouping, and then simplify. You should end up getting 324 on this problem. Okay. Again, we have combining like terms on number 6, but you have to distribute first. So don't forget, don't forget to distribute the 2 here, and don't forget the sign. This is like a -3. So this becomes 2x plus 10, but minus 3x. And a negative times this negative makes that plus 6. And then you need to finish and combining your like terms. You're definitely going to see a problem like 7 and 8. Understanding that perimeter, okay, perimeter is, sorry, I don't know why I keep doing that. Just do this. There we go. Perimeter means we're going to add up all the sides because we're going to find our distance around. And that's also thinking of that as combining like terms. So if you add up all your x's and then add up all your numbers, this should simplify to 7x minus 13. Now on 8, there is a typo because we're taking the perimeter actually of the rectangle. And hopefully you remember that in a rectangle, your opposite sides are congruent. So you needed to add y minus 3 and 3y plus 7. Then add up your like terms. Add up all your y's, 3y plus y plus 3y plus y. And then add up all your constants, and you should get 8y plus 8. Okay, so that takes care of simplifying expressions. Then we're going to go into solving equations. This is when you use your inverse operations or do the opposite of the operation. So this 2/3 x is showing multiplication right there. But anytime I multiply a fraction, the inverse is taking the reciprocal. So this should be times 3 over 2, times 3 over 2. Think of, so this will cancel, leaving your x. And just think of 8 times 3 over 2 is like 8 over 1. So we're doing 8 times 3, which is 24, over 1 times 2, which is 2. And this simplifies to 12. Now you could divide by the coefficient 2/3. You should get the same answer. Okay. Here, because we're seeing division, this bar, the fraction bar is showing division. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. You should be multiplying on both sides by the denominator, which is a -3. So hopefully you got x equals a -36 here. Now on the next page, we have some more solving equations, 1 to 2 step or multiple step. The goal is always to isolate the variable term. So to get this 3/4 x isolated, you should start off by doing the opposite of 8 by subtracting 8 on both sides. That's going to cancel. Don't forget your signs and leave you a -3/4 x equals 4. And then this is back to what we did on the previous problem to get rid of that coefficient. You're going to multiply both sides by -4/3. And then that would cancel. I'm going to just put our answer over here. X equals a -16 over 3. So keep it in fraction form. If you get a decimal, understand this approximation. It's not the exact. Here we have 5.3 repeating. Okay. So you will have a fraction answer in number 12. I do want to talk about 13 because you have some distributing here, but don't forget your signs. It's like saying distribute a -3. So 19g minus 3g, and a negative times a negative gives you a positive, so plus 18 equals 66. And then we're combining the like terms to simplify the equation, and that's going to give us 16g plus 18 equals 66. And then we need to isolate that 16g by subtracting the 18 on both sides. 16g, I probably should have moved this to the side. Draw a blank, sorry. Equals 48. And then we're dividing by 16, so you should get g equals 3. Yeah. So you have some distributing that needs to be done first on number 14, and then combining like terms. Uh, 15 is very similar to 13. When you get to 16 here, you need to combine like terms first. So this comes out to be 6m plus 4 equals negative 32. And then now you're back to a two-step equation. This should, if you work it out right, I'll let you have some time. You want to pause the video to get to that. But you should get m equals negative 6 here. And then on 18, don't forget that's like an invisible 1 there that you need to distribute. Oops, sorry, it goes right there. So 3w minus 7w minus 12 equals, and then you distribute the 2 on the other side of the equal sign, 2w minus 6. Hopefully we see here we need to combine our like terms, which gives us a negative 4w minus 12 equals 2w minus 6. And then now when we have variables on both sides, you have to remember your or multi-step equations, but especially when variables are on both sides. The acronym "Don't call me after midnight," D for don't, is distribute. This is the first step. If we see parentheses, you distribute, which is what we did. C for call, is combine like terms, which is that second step. Don't call me after midnight. The M and me is to move your variable. You should always move the smallest variable, so that's what I'm going to show right now. Your smallest variable is this negative 4x. So to move that, you do the opposite. So plus 4w, plus 4w. Okay, so now we have after midnight. So A for after is meaning that you add or subtract your constant. So this is going to give me negative 12 equals 6w minus 6. My constant is this minus 6. So we're going to add that because you got to do the opposite. So we say plus 6 and plus 6. That gives me negative 6 equals 6w. So don't call me after midnight. We're on the last word. Midnight. M for midnight means that we're going to multiply or divide our number in front of our variable, the coefficient. So here we should divide by 6. And I'm running out of room here. And that gives me w equals negative 1. Okay. Oops. Now, types of solutions on section 3. This is just notes. I kind of went over this in class, so you need to get this down if you didn't. If your copy is off, please fix it. I apologize on that. So we have a solution is what makes an equation true. The types of solution are one solution, infinite solution, and no solutions. And so this is just some facts about that, what types they are. And then it had some examples on the next page where you're actually showing how to solve it. So if you look here, I would first subtract that 6 and it canceled, giving you 4x equals 12. And then I should be dividing by 4. So our solution is x equals 3. 3 is the only number that makes the equation true. So that's showing one solution. Here, I always start with your variables. Smallest variables, where they're both the same, they cancel. You're left with a true statement. That means you're going to have infinite solution. 15 equals 15 is true. Same thing. We move our x's, so there's 4x right there, sorry. This now becomes a false statement, which means you have no solution. Anytime you have false, no solution, you could use the symbol here for no solution. And then you had some hints here to help you. That's just extra things to help you remember the types of solution. So then step 4, or section 4, excuse me, is multi-step inequalities. Make sure you know your symbols. Make sure you know when to use open circle versus closed circle, which symbol goes with that. Also, we're going to get into some interval notation. So open circle, we use parentheses with interval notation when it's open circle, and we use brackets when it's closed circle. Okay. Now, when we get here, we're just writing the inequality. Um, we hopefully see right off the bat that this is closed. Okay, so that means I'm using one of these two, the less than or greater than equal to, or greater than equal to. And then pay attention to where the graph is pointing. This graph is pointing to the left. It's pointing to the negative numbers. So since it's pointing to the left, then we're going to use less than or equal to. So x is less than or equal to 4. That is the inequality of the graph. So that's what you're doing here on the first four, 19 to 22. Then you're actually solving and then graphing and giving interval notation. So on a problem like number 23, you're going to distribute the negative 3 first. So you get 5x minus 3x minus 3 is greater than negative 9. Then you should be combining your like terms, which right here would give me 2x minus 3 is greater than negative 9. And then we're going to isolate the x term, which is the 2x. And right now it's saying 2x minus 3, so do the opposite of that. It means we have to add 3 on both sides. When we do that, we have 2x is greater than or equal to negative 6. And then solve for x, and I'll move this up here to the side so we can just show the work. The last step here requires us to divide both sides by the coefficient of 2. So x is greater than negative 3. So when we graph this, we go to, because of this symbol right here, I know it's open, and we go to a negative 3, which is right here. And I'm going to put an open circle right above there. And then this inequality greater than is pointing to the right. So that means my graph has to point to the right. Now, to do the interval notation, since it's open circle, that is parentheses, at a negative 3, comma, and then it's pointing to the right. This, if it keeps on going, it's showing it's going to go to infinity. And so now we're going to put the infinity symbol. Anytime we use infinity, it is using parentheses with interval notation. So there you go for 23. Try out 24, and that takes care of the first set. We'll have a different video to help you with the next set. Thanks.